Hello and welcome to Biochemistry. The topic before us today is Introduction to Biochemistry, where we will be exploring the chemical basis of life. What is biochemistry? Biochemistry can be defined as the study of the chemical processes and substances that occur within living organisms. Biochemistry helps to understand life at the molecular level, and we have key areas of focus when we study biochemistry. They include the structure and function of biomolecules, metabolism and energy production from biomolecules, genetic information, and molecular biology. Importance of biochemistry. Why is biochemistry important? Biochemistry is important because it helps us to understand life at the molecular level. It has importance in health and medicine, in the field of drug discovery, in disease diagnosis, and in understanding diseases. Biochemistry helps to diagnose and treat diseases such as diabetes, cancer, and genetic disorders. It's very important when new drugs are developed. In agriculture, biochemistry has its importance in developing crops with improved yields, crops that are disease resistant, and crops that have high nutritional content. Biochemistry also has its importance in the environment. It helps in biodegradation, in pollution control. It helps to develop strategies for cleaning up contaminated environments and helps to monitor and understand the effect of pollution on living organisms. In biochemistry, we study key biomolecules. Those biomolecules are carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids. Carbohydrates are energy sources. They also have structural components. Examples of carbohydrates are glucose, starch. Proteins are also very important biomolecules in biochemistry. Enzymes are proteins, hormones and antibodies are proteins, and they have several functions. Hemoglobin is also a protein. Some proteins have structural functions. Lipids are energy storage biomolecules in the cell. They are found majorly on membrane, cell membrane, and organelle membrane. Some lipids act as signaling molecules. Examples of lipids are fats, oils, and steroids. Nucleic acids are genetic materials that are transferred from parents to offspring. Examples that we will normally look at in biochemistry are deoxyribonucleic acid DNA and RNA, which is ribonucleic acid. Now we're going to look at each of these biomolecules one after the other, although not in details. We'll look at them and try to understand what they are and what their functions are. Carbohydrates are one of the four major biomolecules we study in biochemistry, and they play very important roles in various biological processes. They play signaling roles, structural support, and they are good sources of energy. They can be grouped as monosaccharides, disaccharides, or polysaccharides. And like I said, in terms of their function, they produce energy, and energy, glucose molecule, once it is metabolized, will produce ATP, energy in the form of ATP. And some carbohydrates act as storage, energy storage, such as glycogen and starch. A glycogen is a complex carbohydrate and serve as a storage form of glucose in the liver and the muscles. Polysaccharides, such as cellulose and chitin, provide structural support to plants and animals, respectively. Proteins and their roles in biochemistry. Proteins are complex biomolecules composed of amino acids that play a wide range of essential roles in living organisms. Amino acids come together to form a polypeptide and fold into a functional protein. What are the functions of proteins? Enzymes, a type of protein, they catalyze chemical reactions by lowering the activation energy of that biochemical reaction and facilitate metabolic pathways and maintain cellular homeostasis. Proteins such as collagen and elastin, keratin form connective tissue. They provide support, structure, and elasticity to tissues. Some proteins carry out transport functions. Example, we have hemoglobin and lipoproteins. They are transport molecules and they transport molecules like oxygen and lipids throughout the body. Some hormones function as, some proteins function as communication molecules. Proteins such as insulin and growth hormones regulate various physiological processes like metabolism and growth. We're going to look at lipids and their functions. Lipids are a diverse group of biomolecules that play critical roles in various biological processes. Lipids, particularly triglycerides, serve as primary sources of energy for the cell. When they are broken down, they release fatty acids which are oxidized to produce adenosine triphosphate, ATP. Lipids have cellular membrane structure function. Phospholipids and cholesterol are major components of cell membranes, and they provide structural support. For structural support, they also regulate membrane fluidity and facilitate cell signaling. Lipids, such as cholesterol, uh, serve as precursors for the synthesis of steroid hormones like cortisol and estrogen. The phospholipids and cholesterol are essential for the brain and nervous system functions. Phosphatidylinositol and glycolipids are signaling molecules that participate in signaling pathways and cellular and cell communication. Nucleic acids and genetic information. Both DNA and RNA are essential biomolecules that contain genetic instructions for the development and function of all living organisms. There are various functions. DNA, which is the genetic blueprint for organisms, stores genetic information and contains the genetic instructions for the development and function of an organism. RNA is required for protein synthesis and it carries the genetic information for DNA from DNA to the ribosome. Nucleic acids are known to regulate gene expression by controlling transcription and translation. The major structure of nucleic acid that we'll look at in details later is the nucleotide. The nucleotide consists of a phosphate, a sugar, which can be a ribose or deoxyribose sugar, and a nitrogenous base. Now, we're going to look at other biomolecules aside the four we have talked about. We're looking at enzymes, which are proteins. They are biological molecules that catalyze chemical reactions in living organisms. Enzymes play a crucial role in biochemistry as they enable the efficient and specific conversion of substrates into products. They catalyze the rate of a biochemical reaction by lowering the activation energy. They are very important in metabolism because deficiency in a specific enzyme can lead to genetic mutation, inherited disorder, environmental factors, and nutritional deficiency. A deficient enzyme is responsible for catalyzing a specific reaction in a metabolic pathway. Without the enzyme, the reaction cannot occur, and that pathway is disrupted. Now, we want to look at the term metabolism. What is metabolism? Metabolism is the complex network of chemical reactions that occur within living organisms to sustain life. These reactions involve the breakdown that's catabolism of molecules for energy, and it involves anabolism, which has to do with synthesis of complex molecules from simpler ones. These two processes are very essential, and energy is produced in a living cell in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. It is the energy currency of the cell. Cellular respiration and photosynthesis. Respiration is one of the characteristics of living things, and cellular respiration is a process by which cells generate energy from the food they consume. It is a complex multi-step process that involves the breakdown of glucose and other organic molecules to produce energy in the form of ATP in the mitochondria of cells. Aerobic respiration, as we know, occurs in the presence of oxygen, while anaerobic respiration occurs in the absence of oxygen. Photosynthesis, on the other hand, occurs in plants and some algae and bacteria, and it involves the conversion of light energy from the sun into chemical energy in the form of organic compounds such as glucose. These two processes are fundamental for energy in living organisms. There are several biochemical techniques that are used in biochemistry. These techniques include chromatography, spectrophotometry, gel electrophoresis. Chromatography helps to separate biomolecules in a sample, such as purification of proteins from a complex mixture. Spectroscopy, on the other hand, helps to calculate the concentration of a substance in a given sample. PCR can be used to amplify a gene and also, after amplification of that gene, to sequence the gene. It's important because specific DNA sequences for cloning and gene editing and gene expression can be amplified using PCR. Now, these biochemical techniques are important in analyzing biomolecules, like we've said before, studying genes and diagnosing diseases. They have research importance. Now, biochemistry can be applied to several fields. It's applied to the field of medicine, where it is important in disease diagnosis. Biochemical techniques like ELISA, PCR are used to diagnose a specific disease rapidly and accurately, and this allows for timely intervention. Biochemistry is important because it helps to identify specific molecular targets in drug discovery. Those targets could include enzymes, receptors, or proteins. Biochemistry can be applied to gene therapy, and in gene therapy, we make use of the biochemical techniques like the QRT PCR and Western blotting. This can be used to analyze gene expression and protein production in gene therapy studies. We can apply the knowledge of biochemistry to agriculture, where it can be used to develop genetically modified crops with desirable traits. Such traits might be crops that are pest resistant, crops that are drought resistant, and crops that have high nutritional content. We can use or we can apply biochemistry to pest control, where uh, protein engineering and RNA interference is used to develop novel control strategies to control pests. The knowledge of biochemistry can be applied to the environment where waste is well managed, where there's bioremediation and pollution control, where plants or bacteria, microorganisms can be used to remove contaminants from the environment, and thereby making the environment safe for the living organisms within that environment. What is the future of biochemistry? Biochemistry has future in several emerging fields, in the field of genomics, proteomics, and synthetic biology, and so many others. Genomics is the study of genomes, including the structure, the function, and evolution of genomes. Proteomics, on the other hand, is the study of the complete set of proteins produced or modified by an organism or system. Synthetic biology is an interdisciplinary field that combines engineering principles with biological systems to design and construct new biological systems, such as genetic circuits. Um, Biochemistry has a potential impact in precision medicine, where a specific treatment is or treatment is tailored to an individual's unique genetic environment and lifestyle factor. Precision medicine is applicable to cancer treatment and for developing treatments for genetic disorders. Renewable biofuels are fuels that are produced from organic matter, such as plant or agricultural waste, and biochemistry has potential impact in renewable biofuels. And also, it's important, it plays a vital role in environmental sustainability. Biochemistry helps in the development of bioremediation technologies that use microorganisms, enzymes to clean up the environment. So before we end this class, let's look at what we've been talking about. In summary, biochemistry explores chemical processes in living organisms. It focuses on biomolecules like carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids. Biochemistry is essential in medicine, in agriculture, and environmental science. It's good to remember that understanding biochemistry is fundamental to advancing science and improving life. Thank you so much for good listening.